The hardest part of diabetes isn't avoiding sugar. It's waking up every morning with hope and watching that hope disappear when the number appears on the screen. You went to bed believing you did everything right. Dinner was early. Portions were controlled. No sweets. Maybe you even went to bed hungry, thinking it would help. And still, the fasting blood sugar is high again. That moment doesn't just affect your glucose. It affects your confidence. It makes you feel confused, tired, and quietly frustrated, like your body is working against you. What most diabetics are never taught is this. Your body behaves very differently at night. While you sleep, insulin becomes less effective, stress hormones rise without warning, and your liver releases a stored sugar into your blood, even if you haven't eaten for hours. In fact, going to bed hungry can push those hormones even higher. So the problem isn't that you're failing, and it's not that you're eating too much. The problem is that nighttime blood sugar follows different rules. In this video, you'll discover 3 specific dry fruits that work with your nighttime metabolism to calm liver glucose release, stabilize insulin activity, and help you wake up with better numbers. Watch till the end, because better mornings don't start in the morning. They start the night before. First on the list, prunes. For many people with diabetes, the most confusing number is not the post-meal reading. It's the fasting blood sugar in the morning. You can eat carefully all day, avoid sweets, finish dinner early, and still wake up with elevated glucose. This is not because you failed. It's because nighttime blood sugar is controlled by a different system altogether. While you sleep, insulin sensitivity naturally drops, stress hormones quietly rise, and the liver releases stored glucose into the bloodstream to keep the brain supplied with energy. When this liver release becomes excessive, fasting blood sugar climbs even without eating. This is where prunes become one of the most powerful and misunderstood dry fruits for diabetics at night. Prunes are often feared because they taste sweet and are labeled as high sugar. But sweetness alone does not determine blood sugar impact, especially at night. What matters is how a food interacts with liver glucose output, gut signaling, and hormonal balance during long fasting hours. Prunes work not by blocking sugar after it appears, but by calming the liver before excess glucose is released. The primary driver of high fasting sugar is hepatic glucose output, which simply means the liver releasing stored sugar into the blood during sleep. In people with insulin resistance, this release becomes exaggerated because insulin is less effective at night. Stress hormones like cortisol further amplify this process. The result is high morning readings that feel unexplained and discouraging. Prunes help calm this process through a unique combination of soluble fiber, polyphenols, potassium, and natural sugar alcohols. Soluble fiber slows digestion and sends a signal to the liver that energy is available, reducing the need for emergency glucose release. At the same time, prune polyphenols improve insulin signaling, helping cells absorb glucose more efficiently overnight. This dual action, less glucose release and better glucose uptake, is exactly what the diabetic body needs at night. From a glycemic standpoint, prunes are often misunderstood. Their glycemic index averages around 29 to 38, which is considered low to moderate. More importantly, their glycemic load remains low when the portion is limited to 2 prunes. Glycemic index describes how fast a food raises blood sugar, but glycemic load reflects the real-world impact based on portion size. At night, glycemic load matters far more than glycemic index. 2 prunes release glucose slowly enough to stabilize blood sugar rather than spike it during sleep. Another powerful nighttime benefit of prunes is their effect on the gut-liver axis. While you sleep, gut bacteria continue fermenting fiber and producing short-chain fatty acids. These compounds act as metabolic messengers that tell the liver to reduce glucose production. Prunes are especially effective at feeding this overnight gut activity. When eaten before bed, they help shift the liver from release mode to maintenance mode, leading to smoother blood sugar through the night. Potassium is another key reason prunes work so well at night. Low potassium levels are linked to increased cortisol activity. Cortisol strongly stimulates liver glucose release, especially during sleep. By supporting potassium balance, prunes help reduce cortisol-driven glucose spikes. This is particularly helpful for people who experience stress, poor sleep, anxiety, or frequent nighttime awakenings. Many diabetics believe going to bed hungry will improve morning sugar. In reality, this often backfires. Hunger is perceived by the brain as a threat. During sleep, this threat response increases cortisol and adrenaline, which push blood sugar higher. A small, strategic bedtime snack prevents this stress response. Prunes are ideal because they provide just enough energy to calm the system without overwhelming insulin capacity. This nighttime stabilization directly affects HbA1c, the most important long-term marker of diabetes control. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over the past 8 to 12 weeks, and repeated fasting, sugar spikes play a major role in pushing it higher. Even if daytime readings look acceptable, chronic overnight elevations quietly increase HbA1c. When prunes are used consistently at night, they reduce the total number of hours glucose remains elevated during sleep. Over time, this lowers glucose binding to hemoglobin, the process that raises HbA1c. Nutrition-based clinical observations show that improving nighttime glucose stability with low glycemic load, fiber-rich foods like prunes can reduce HbA1c by approximately 0.3 to 0.6 percentage points over 8 to 12 weeks, especially in people with insulin resistance and elevated fasting glucose. For example, someone with an HbA1c of 8.0% who struggles with high morning readings may gradually move towards 7.4 to 7.6% by improving nighttime liver control alone. Even a 0.5% drop in HbA1c significantly lowers the risk of diabetic nerve damage, kidney stress, and cardiovascular complications. Another reason prunes influence HbA1c is reduced glucose variability. HbA1c is affected not only by averages, but also by swings. Nighttime swings are especially damaging because they occur during long fasting hours. Prunes reduce these swings by providing a slow, steady release of energy that prevents sudden glucose dumping from the liver. The correct way to use prunes at night is simple but precise. The ideal portion is 2 prunes, eaten 30 to 45 minutes before sleep. Eat them slowly, with a few sips of water. They can be eaten alone or paired with a few cashews for added stability. This timing allows digestion without triggering a glucose spike. It's important to address sorbitol honestly. Prunes naturally contain sorbitol, which supports digestion, but can cause bloating or loose stools if consumed in excess. This is why portion control is essential. 2 prunes support blood sugar control. 4 or 5 can disrupt digestion and sleep, which ultimately worsens glucose regulation. Prunes also indirectly improve sleep quality. Stable blood sugar supports deeper sleep, and deeper sleep improves insulin sensitivity the next day. This creates a positive feedback loop. Better sleep leads to better glucose control, and better glucose control leads to better sleep. Prunes help initiate this cycle by preventing nighttime stress responses and cortisol surges. Encourage viewers to evaluate results over 7 to 10 nights, not just one. Fasting glucose trends matter more than single readings. Many people notice that morning numbers become more predictable, less volatile, and gradually lower. Over 8 to 12 weeks, this improvement often appears clearly in HbA1c results. Prunes are not a cure and not a replacement for medical care, but when used intentionally, they become a powerful nighttime tool. They calm the liver, support insulin signaling, stabilize hormones, feed the gut, and protect long-term markers like HbA1c, all while you sleep. This is why prunes earn their place as the #1 dry fruit diabetics should eat at night when the goal is lower fasting blood sugar and better long-term glucose control. Second on the list, cashews. For many diabetics, fasting blood sugar remains high not because the liver is releasing too much glucose, but because insulin is not working efficiently at night. During sleep, muscles become less responsive to insulin, nerve activity shifts, and glucose that should be moved into cells stay circulating in the blood. This is why some people see high morning numbers even when their liver output is reasonably controlled. This is exactly where cashews, used correctly at night, become a powerful and often underestimated dry fruit. Cashews do not work by lowering blood sugar directly. They work by improving insulin signaling, calming the nervous system, and supporting the mineral balance that allows glucose to move into cells during sleep. At night, this internal efficiency matters more than carbohydrate restriction alone. One of the biggest hidden drivers of nighttime glucose elevation is stress-related insulin resistance. Even mild stress, mental tension, shallow sleep, or nervous system overactivity reduces insulin sensitivity. When insulin signaling weakens, glucose cannot enter muscle cells effectively, so it remains in the bloodstream until morning. Cashews help interrupt this process. The most important reason cashews work well at night is their magnesium content. Magnesium is essential for insulin receptor function. Without adequate magnesium, insulin may be present but ineffective. Many people with diabetes are chronically low in magnesium due to increased urinary loss and long-term metabolic stress. This deficiency becomes more noticeable at night when insulin sensitivity is already lower. Cashews provide a food-based source of magnesium that supports insulin efficiency during sleep. Cashews also contain plant protein, which supports muscle repair overnight. Muscles are the largest glucose-absorbing tissue in the body. When muscles are nourished and repaired during sleep, they become more receptive to glucose uptake the next morning. This improves fasting blood sugar and sets the stage for better glucose control throughout the day. Healthy fats in cashews add another layer of nighttime stability. Fat slows digestion and reduces rapid glucose movement. At night, this creates a smooth metabolic environment rather than peaks and dips. Cashew fats also suppress ghrelin, the hunger hormone, which helps prevent nighttime hunger signals that can trigger cortisol release and worsen glucose control. From a glycemic perspective, cashews are often misunderstood. Their glycemic index is low to moderate, typically around 22 to 25, which is considered safe when portioned correctly. More importantly, their glycemic load remains low at small nighttime portions. Glycemic load reflects the real blood sugar impact based on portion size. At night, portion control is critical, because even low GI foods can raise glucose if eaten in excess. Cashews also support the nervous system, which plays a central role in nighttime blood sugar control. Magnesium and healthy fats help calm nerve activity, reduce nighttime restlessness, and improve sleep depth. When the nervous system is calmer, cortisol levels remain lower. Insulin works more effectively, and the liver releases less glucose. This indirect pathway is why cashews often improve morning numbers, even though they contain some carbohydrates. Another important benefit of cashews at night is reduced glucose variability. HbA1c is influenced not only by average glucose levels, but also by how often glucose spikes. Nighttime spikes are especially harmful because they last for many hours during fasting. Cashews help smooth overnight glucose patterns by improving insulin efficiency rather than blocking glucose after it rises. Over time, this stability contributes to improved HbA1c. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over the past 8 to 12 weeks, and repeated overnight elevations quietly push this number higher. By improving insulin signaling, calming stress hormones, and supporting muscle glucose uptake, cashews help reduce cumulative glucose exposure during sleep. Nutrition-based clinical observations suggest that consistent intake of magnesium-rich, low glycemic foods like cashews can reduce HbA1c by approximately 0.2 to 0.5 percentage points over 12 weeks, especially in people whose main issue is insulin resistance rather than excessive carbohydrate intake. For example, someone with an HbA1c of 7.9% who struggles with high fasting, sugar may gradually move towards 7.4 to 7.6% as nighttime insulin efficiency improves. Even modest HbA1c reductions significantly lower the risk of nerve damage, kidney stress, and cardiovascular complications. The ideal nighttime portion of cashews is 5 to 7 whole cashews, eaten 20 to 30 minutes before sleep. This amount provides enough magnesium, protein, and fat to support insulin signaling without overwhelming digestion. Eating more than this does not improve results and may interfere with sleep or raise glucose. Cashews can be eaten alone or paired with prunes. In this pairing, prunes calm liver glucose release, while cashews improve insulin-driven glucose uptake. Together, they address two different nighttime mechanisms, but it's important to keep portions small and not combine multiple dry fruits in large amounts. Preparation matters. Cashews should be raw or dry roasted without salt or sugar. Salt increases nighttime thirst and can worsen blood pressure and glucose variability. Sweetened or honey-roasted cashews should be avoided at night. One gentle caution is portion discipline. Cashews are calorie-dense and easy to overeat. Large portions at night can slow digestion and disrupt sleep, which ultimately worsens glucose control. This is not a warning, it's a precision rule. At night, small amounts work best. Encourage viewers to track fasting glucose trends over 7 to 14 days, not single readings. Many people notice that morning numbers become steadier and less unpredictable rather than dramatically lower overnight. Over 8 to 12 weeks, this consistency often appears clearly in HbA1c results. Cashews are not a snack meant to satisfy cravings. They are a nighttime insulin support tool. When used intentionally, they improve insulin signaling, calm the nervous system, nourish muscles, reduce glucose variability, and support healthier HbA1c levels, all while the body rests. If prunes calm the liver and cashews improve insulin efficiency, the final dry fruit works through a different pathway by reducing inflammation and supporting overnight metabolic recovery. Third on the list, dried cranberries. For some diabetics, fasting blood sugar is not driven mainly by liver glucose release or insulin resistance alone. It's driven by chronic inflammation, poor sleep quality, and oxidative stress that quietly disrupt glucose control overnight. When inflammation is high, insulin signaling weakens, stress hormones rise, and glucose remains elevated longer than it should. This is where dried cranberries, when used correctly and unsweetened, become a valuable nighttime dry fruit. Dried cranberries do not work like prunes or cashews. They don't primarily calm the liver or improve insulin receptors. Instead, they work by reducing overnight inflammation, supporting gut and urinary health, and improving sleep quality, all of which indirectly but powerfully influence fasting blood sugar. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a major but under-recognized driver of poor glucose control. Inflammation interferes with insulin signaling and increases cortisol activity, especially at night. When the body is inflamed, glucose stays elevated longer, and fasting readings suffer. Dried cranberries are rich in polyphenols, especially proanthocyanidins, which help neutralize inflammatory signals and oxidative stress during sleep. From a glycemic standpoint, dried cranberries must be chosen carefully. Unsweetened dried cranberries have a glycemic index of approximately 25 to 30, which is considered low to moderate. However, sweetened or sugar-coated cranberries have a much higher glycemic impact and should be avoided entirely at night. For diabetics, quality matters more than the food itself. At a small, controlled portion, unsweetened dried cranberries have a low glycemic load, meaning they release glucose slowly and gently. This slow release prevents sudden blood sugar rises while still providing metabolic support. At night, this slow and steady behavior is exactly what the body needs. One of the most unique nighttime benefits of dried cranberries is their effect on sleep quality. Inflammation and oxidative stress interfere with deep sleep. Poor sleep increases insulin resistance and raises cortisol the next morning, leading to higher fasting sugar. By reducing oxidative stress overnight, dried cranberries support deeper, more restorative sleep, which improves insulin sensitivity the following day. Dried cranberries also support the gut microbiome, which plays an important role in glucose regulation. During sleep, gut bacteria continue to metabolize fiber and polyphenols, producing compounds that improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammatory signaling. This gut-based signaling helps stabilize blood sugar through the night and into the morning. Another important benefit of dried cranberries is urinary and bladder comfort, which indirectly affects blood sugar. Nighttime urinary irritation, frequent awakenings, or discomfort disrupt sleep and raise stress hormones. Stress hormones increase liver glucose release and worsen fasting sugar. Cranberries help support urinary tract health, reducing nighttime disturbances that quietly sabotage glucose control. Over time, this combination of reduced inflammation, improved sleep, and smoother overnight glucose patterns contributes to better HbA1c. HbA1c reflects average blood sugar over 8 to 12 weeks, and nighttime glucose plays a significant role in this average. When glucose remains elevated overnight due to inflammation or poor sleep, HbA1c rises even if daytime numbers look reasonable. By lowering oxidative stress and improving overnight metabolic recovery, unsweetened dried cranberries help reduce cumulative glucose exposure. Nutrition-based observations suggest that improving sleep quality and inflammation control can contribute to HbA1c reductions of approximately zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 percentage points over 12 weeks, particularly in people whose fasting sugar is linked to poor sleep or chronic inflammation. For example, someone with an HbA1c of 7.7% who experiences restless sleep, nighttime discomfort, or frequent awakenings may gradually move towards 7.3 to 7.5% as sleep and inflammation improve. Even these modest changes significantly lower the risk of long-term diabetic complications. The correct nighttime portion of dried cranberries is 1 tablespoon of unsweetened dried cranberries, eaten 20 to 30 minutes before sleep. This small amount provides enough polyphenols and fiber to deliver benefits without raising blood sugar. Eating more than this can increase glucose and disrupt digestion. Dried cranberries can be eaten alone or paired with a few cashews. Cashews improve insulin signaling, while cranberries reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. Together, they support both glucose handling and overnight recovery. But portions must remain small. Preparation and label reading are critical. Always check that the cranberries are unsweetened, with no added sugar, syrup, or fruit juice concentrate. Many products marketed as dried cranberries are heavily sweetened and unsuitable for nighttime use in diabetics. One gentle caution is digestive sensitivity. Some people may experience mild bloating if they consume dried cranberries late at night. This is why starting with a very small portion is important. At night, the goal is calm digestion, not stimulation. Encourage viewers to observe patterns rather than single readings. Many people notice fewer nighttime awakenings, better sleep depth, and more stable morning glucose over 7 to 14 days. Over 8 to 12 weeks, these improvements often reflect clearly in HbA1c results. Dried cranberries are not a dessert or a sweet treat. They are a nighttime recovery tool. When used unsweetened and in the correct portion, they reduce inflammation, support gut and urinary health, improve sleep quality, and help stabilize fasting blood sugar and HbA1c over time. This is why unsweetened dried cranberries earn their place as the third dry fruit diabetics can eat at night. Not for sweetness, but for the quiet metabolic recovery they provide while the body rests. If fasting blood sugar has been frustrating you, remember this: your mornings don't start in the morning. They start the night before. Nighttime blood sugar isn't about eating less or being perfect. It's about understanding what your body does while you sleep and supporting it the right way. Prunes help calm liver glucose release, cashews improve how insulin works overnight, and unsweetened dried cranberries reduce inflammation and support better sleep. None of these foods work because they're magic. They work because they respect your body's nighttime metabolism. When used in the right portion, at the right time, they help reduce overnight glucose stress and support better fasting sugar and HbA1c over time. Don't try all three at once. Choose one option tonight. Use it consistently for 7 to 10 nights and watch the trend, not just one number. Small, steady changes are what create real improvement. If this video helped you understand your body instead of blaming it, like the video and subscribe to Diabetes Healthcare for simple, science-backed guidance you can actually use. Share this with someone who wakes up worried about their morning numbers, because better nights truly lead to better mornings.